Hey everybody, this is JD Gaming. Happy Friday and welcome back to 4 Fun Facts in Yu-Gi-Oh! The show where we discuss just that and hopefully learn something new along the way. Back when this game began in 2002, it was a new experience for everyone. Therefore, it was a common occurrence for players to learn about new cards through their friends. I personally have very fond memories of my childhood friends telling me on the school playground about their favorite new cards they had just pulled. Have you heard about Raigeki? It destroys all of your opponent's monsters on the field. Oh, that's cool. Wait, that's literally the card's text? Indeed, while this is a totally normal way to share what a card does with someone, it definitely feels a bit odd to have the card read in a way where it tells you what it does. Other cards were like this as well, such as Monster Reborn, detailing the process of selecting one monster card from either your opponent's or your own graveyard and placing it on the field under your control in attack or defense position face up. Don't forget that that's considered a special summon. Whew, that's a mouthful. But as long-winded as that was, it's clear from the text what Monster Reborn does, if the name hadn't given it away already. My favorite text of this style, though, has to be Polymerization. It fuses 2 or more fusion material monsters to form a new fusion monster. I was a good kid back in the day, and I did my homework, including reading the official rulebook. But honestly, if you hadn't had access to a rulebook back in the day, or didn't bother reading one when the game was new, how on earth would you know exactly how you're supposed to fusion summon? The modern errata of Polymerization makes it very clear what we're supposed to do, and this is given decades of experience that players have with this game. It now reads, fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. While the first set of cards had text that looked like players' descriptions rather than actual printed card text, they were easy enough to understand. The next few cards could be totally misunderstood based on what was written, yet there was nothing inherently incorrect about what they said or what the players came up with. Case in point, Nimble Momonga and Giant Germ. These 2 monsters from Magic Ruler were powerful floaters that granted you 2 free monsters in exchange for the one you lost in battle. They also had nifty bonus effects that modified life points when they fell. The original versions of these cards read as follows. When this card is sent to the graveyard as a result of battle, do some sort of life point modification. You can also take cards of the same name and special summon them to the field in a position that depends on which card was destroyed. The deck is then shuffled. Seems easy enough, right? What isn't there to get? Well, what confused me as a kid was the phrase, cards of the same name. So I could take any cards of the same name? Alright, I'll just drop down 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons onto the field since it doesn't say I can't, and those are clearly cards of the same name. Obviously, not the way the card was intended to be used, and I eventually found out through playing some of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Game Boy Advance games. But there was nothing inherently wrong with this alternative interpretation of the effect and the phrase, cards of the same name. The cards later received errata specifying that you are to summon additional copies of Nimble Momonga for the Flying Squirrel and Giant Germ for the Plague. Next up, we have a Nomi monster. In Japanese, monsters whose text contain the term Nomi, or only, in a specific place were categorized as Nomi monsters. These monsters were corrected in modern English versions to read, must be special summoned by some method, and could not be later special summoned in any other way even if it was properly played before, versus a semi-Nomi monster like Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning, who now reads, must first be special summoned by, and then of course could be revived with something like Monster Reborn down the line. Back in 2005, there was a particular Nomi monster my brother played that spelled torrential doom for my decks. Ocean Dragon Lord Neo Daedalus was a powerful upgrade of the already potent Levia Dragon Daedalus. In exchange for sending a face-up Umi, or more commonly a legendary Ocean, to your graveyard, you could eliminate certain cards in both players' possession. While the original sent all other cards on the field to a watery grave, Neo Daedalus took it a step above and also sent each player's hand to the graveyard, essentially making it a Chaos Emperor Dragon who stays on the field. This wasn't inherently a problem on a highly restrictive Nomi monster that required you to tribute the original Levia Dragon Daedalus, but Konami flubbed big time by omitting the summoning restriction text on the original runs of Neo Daedalus. While they did announce the mistake and provide a correction, even as a first edition print of the card, the way it was originally printed meant Ocean Dragonlord could be summoned through any means, including revival cards like Premature Burial or the title monstrosity that was Big Wave Small Wave. Needless to say, my brother had a solid track record against the Blaze of Destruction deck I received for my birthday. This last one, though, is what really grinded my gears in grade school. As an avid reader of Beckett Yu-Gi-Oh! Collector magazine, I received my dose of card rulings and corrections from a very young age, although I unfortunately never found out about Ocean Dragonlord. One thing I did learn was that I could use Imperial Order to ward off MST while I constructed Destiny Board for a cheap win. I simply had to stop paying the 700 life points when I had FINA on the board, and L would land the following turn. I took this idea to a small tournament of friends at one of their houses, and our head judge was one of the moms who just happened to keep up with the game, plus she was the adult, so it just made sense at the time. Just as I was pulling off this pro play and about to send my opponent to the Shadow Realm, I was told I couldn't do this. Why not, I asked. We looked at the card, which read, as long as this card remains face up on the field, negate the effects of all magic cards. Pay 700 life points during each of your standby phases. If you cannot, this card is destroyed. The issue here was the word cannot, which implied the payment wasn't optional. While the modern errata on Imperial Order actually mandates payment, the original could be turned off instead of paying during your standby phase, which was clarified in later reprints of the card, like in Dark Beginning 1. Other cards had a similar problem of this misleading text, such as Mask of Brutality and Mirror Wall, both of which we see clearly used with modern text in things like Duel Links. But back then, the ruling I received was final, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a salty 5th grader. And there you have it, 4 fun facts regarding misleading text in Yu-Gi-Oh! Let me know down below what you thought, and feel free to share the cards that threw you off back in the day down below. And as always, I'll see you guys next week for 4 more fun facts. That's the end of this video, but if you'd like to see more of this series, you can click the annotation on the right, or you can see the last video I did by clicking the one on the left. If you enjoyed, I encourage you guys to leave a like and share it with others you think who may enjoy it as well. And if you'd really like to see more updates, then subscribe to JD Gaming for more Yu-Gi-Oh videos. Thanks guys, this is JD Gaming, hope you guys enjoyed as always, and I'll see you guys next time.